Good morning, students. This is Krishna from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, DBS Institute of Technology, Kavali. Today I am going to presentation on design of mechanical springs. So this is the second unit for starting this design of machine mill melts. So this is unit number 2, design of mechanical springs. So in this PPT you can discuss about the introduction of the mechanical springs, types of these springs, advantages of helical springs, materials used for a helical springs, so materials used for the helical springs and the terms used in the compression springs and and working stresses in the springs in a coil. So we can discuss it one by one. So let's start the class. So first going to the introduction of the design of mechanical springs. So introduction. A spring is defined as an elastic body whose forces is to be distort when loaded, yet to recover its original shape when load is removed. The spring is defined as an elastic body. The function is to be distort when the load is applied, so recover its original shape when load is removed. So the various important applications of springs as follows. So what are the various important applications are? To choose and absorb or control energy due to either shock or vibration, as in car springs, railway buffers, aircraft loading gears, shock absorbers, and vibration dampers. To apply force, as in brakes, clutches, and spring-loaded valve. To control motion by maintaining contact between two elements, as in cams and followers. To measure force, as in spring balance and engine indicators. To store energy, as in watches, toys, etc. So these are the important applications used in the springs. Next, types of springs. So what are the types of springs? There are many types of springs at the following according to their shape are important from the subject point of view. So the first type of the springs is helical spring. The helical springs are made up of wire coil in the form of a helix and is primarily intended for compressive or tensile loads. The cross section of the wire from which the spring is made by circular, square or rectangular. So we can see the cross section of this spring, it is called circular, square or rectangular. So it has two form of helical springs or compression helical spring as shown in the figure A, the tensile helical spring as shown in the figure B. In helical spring it has two forms. So the first one is a compression helical spring, the second one is a tensile helical spring. So you can see the figures in figure A and figure B. So this is the compression spring. So when load is applied to the top or bottom, top of the spring will be compressed. So this type of springs is called compression spring. So this is used in the bike seats and in front of the tires. So this is the compression spring is used for the vehicles. So tensile helical spring. So this type of spring is also used for lifting the weight. Tensile springs are used. సో మన వెయిట్ చెక్ చేసుకోవడానికి గార్బేజ్ సో వాటి దగ్గర మన వెయిట్, సో మన గార్బేజ్ అనేది లేదా మన తీసుకున్న కంటెంట్ బుక్స్ అనేవి ఎంత వెయిట్ ఉంది అలా చెక్ చేసుకోవడానికి మనకి ఇక్కడ ఒక ఇండికేటర్ ఉంటుంది. సో ఇక్కడ మన హుక్కి మనం దాన్ని అటాచ్ చేసామంటే దాని వెయిట్ అనేది మనకి ఇక్కడ డిస్ప్లే చేస్తుంది అనమాట. సో దిస్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ టెన్సైల్ హెలికల్ స్ప్రింగ్. The helical springs are said to be closely coiled when the spring wire is coiled so closely, plane containing each turn is nearer at right angle to axis of the helix and wire is subjected to torsion. In other words, in a closely coiled helical spring, the helix angle is very small, is less than 10 degrees. In a closed helical spring, the helix angle is always lesser than 10 degrees. The major stresses produced in helical springs and shear stresses due to twisting, the load applied is parallel to along the axis of the spring. So the major stress produced in the helical springs are shear stress. By using this twisting moment, the load applied to the parallel to along the axis of the springs. In open coil helical spring, the spring wire is coiled in such a way that there is a gap between the two consecutive turns. As a result of which the helix angle is large. So in open helical spring means the spring wire is coiled such a way there is a gap between the two consecutive turns. అంటే మన రెండు ఎవ్రీ టర్న్కి మధ్యలో మనకి గ్యాప్ అనేది ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో ద గ్యాప్ బిట్వీన్ ది టూ టర్న్స్. దిస్ రిజల్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది స్ప్రింగ్ is helical angle is, so the distance between the two turns, the helical angle is large. Since the applications of the open coiled helical springs are limited, therefore the discussion shall confine to closely coiled helical springs only. Next, advantages of helical springs. So the helical springs have the following advantages. So what are the advantages in helical springs? There is easy to manufacture. These are available in wide range. They are reliable. They have constant spring rate. Their performance can be predicted more accurately. Their characteristics can be varied from changing dimensions. So these are all the advantages of the helical springs. So next, another type of the spring, conical and bolt spring. A conical and bolt spring as shown in the figure are used in special applications which are telescopic spring or spring with a spring rate that increase with the load is desired. So it looks like to see the conical or bolt spring is telescopic spring method. The conical springs are shown in the figure here. In wood is wound with a uniform pitch, whereas the bolt spring as shown in the figure B are wound in form of parabolic with constant pitch and lead angle. So we can see the figure A and figure B. The in conical spring it looks like the uniform pitch, where is the triangular shape, and apart from the wall spring, so this wall spring is looks like a parabolic shape, so with constant pitch and lead angle. The pitch will be constant, the lead angle is also constant. So looks like the whole spring is a parabolic shape. So the conical spring looks like the triangular shape. The springs may be made either partially or completely telescoping. In either case, the number of active coils gradually decreases. The decreasing number of coils resulting in an increasing spring rate. This characteristic is sometimes utilized in vibration problems where springs are used to support a body that has a varying masses. The major stresses produced in conical and walled springs are also shear stresses due to twisting. So next, third type of this spring, torsion spring. These springs may be a helical or spiral type as shown in the figure. The helical type may be used only in applications where the load tends to wind up the spring and are used in various electrical mechanisms. The spiral type is also used where the load tends to increase the number of coils and when made of flat strip are used in watches and clocks. So we can see the figure A and figure B. These are the two figures in the torsion springs. The torsion springs are two types, are two models. So what are they? So helical torsion spring or spiral torsion spring. In this helical torsion spring, so this will be used in the electrical mechanisms. So this is the top view and this is the side view of the helical torsion spring, and the spiral torsion spring is used in the watches and clocks and flat strips. With load tend to increase the number of coils it made of the flat strip. It is used for the watches and clocks. The major stresses produced in torsion springs and tensile and compressive due to bending. So next, fourth type of the spring is laminated or leaf spring. So we are about familiar about the leaf springs. So these leaf springs used for the lorries for the shock absorption in behind the tires. We can use the leaf springs. The laminated or leaf springs, also known as a flat spring of carriage spring, consists of number of flat plates known as levels of varying length held together by means of clamps and bolts as shown in the figure. These are mostly used in automobiles. So the major stresses produced in leaf springs are tensile and compressive stresses. So next type of the spring, disc or billiard spring. Disc or billiard spring. These springs consist a number of conical discs held together against slipping by a central bolt or tube as shown in the figure. These springs are used in applications where high spring rate and compact spring unit are required. So the major stresses produced in the disc or billiard springs are tensile and compressive stresses. So you can see the figure. This spring is used for compression or tensile forces. So the major stress production used in the discs are billiard springs. Special next type of spring is special purpose spring. The springs are air or liquid springs, rubber springs, ring springs, etc. The fluids, oil or liquid, can behave as a compression springs. The springs are used for special types for applications only. So what are the materials used in the helical springs? So the materials of the spring should have high fatigue strength, high ductility, high resilience, and it should be creep resistance. It largely depends upon the service for which they are used, that is the server service, average service or light service. Server service means rapid continuous loading where the ratio of minimum to maximum load or stresses in one half or less, as in automobile valve springs, automotive valve springs. In average services, it includes the same stresses range as in servo service, but with only intermittent operation, as in engine governor springs and automobile suspension springs. So next material is light service. So it includes springs subjected to load that are static or very infrequently varied, as in safety valve springs. The springs are mostly made up from oil-tempered carbon steel wire containing 0.60 to 0.70% carbon and 0.60 to 1% manganese. Music wire is used for small springs. Non-ferrous materials like phosphor bronze, beryllium copper, beryllium copper, monal metal, brass, etc. may be used in special cases to increase fatigue resistance, temperature resistance, and corrosion resistance. So the table shows the value of allowable shear stresses, modulus of rigidity, and modulus of elasticity for various materials used for springs. So we can see the table in next slide. The helical springs are either cold form or hot form depending upon the size of the wire. Wires of small size, less than 10 mm diameter, are usually wound cold, whereas large size wires are wound hot. The strength of the wires varies with the size. Smaller size wires have greater strength and less durability due to greater degree of cold working. So you can see the materials for helical springs. So what are the materials? So you can see the springs. So these are the materials used for the springs, helical springs. So you can see the table, various values of allowable shear stresses, modulus of rigidity, elasticity, and modulus of rigidity for various spring materials. So you can see the table. The table will be given as a type of the material, allowable shear stress, modulus of rigidity, and modulus of elasticity. So G and key. So it have materials of three stages of services. So service, average service, and light service. So for the first material in carbon steel, So what is the diameter? So up to 2.125 m diameter. So the service is 420 allowable shear stress, 525 average allowable shear stress, 651 light allowable shear stress, and the modulus of rigidity G is 80 kN per meter square. Mod elasticity is E is equal to 210 kN per mm square. So next in carbon steel is 2.125 to 4.625 mm diameter. The serve allowable shear stress is 385, average service shear stress is 483, light service shear stress is 595, and modulus of rigidity is 80, modulus of elasticity is 210. So simultaneously, in carbon steels of diameter 4.65 to 8 mm diameter and 8 mm to 13.25 diameter, 13.25 to 24.25 diameter, 24.25 to 38 mm diameter. So allowable shear stresses will be changed to the services and average services, light services. We will change the continuous equation, continuously form 336, 420, 525, and modulus of rigidity is same for the 80, and model elasticity is also same to the entire the carbon steel in 210. So next material is music wire. So this music wire is service factor is 392, 490, 612. So next material oil tempered wire. So you can see the tabular form. So will be noted. So next final the brass. The allowable shear stress is 140 in service. In average service is 175. In light service is 219. Modulus of rigidity is 35. Modulus of velocity is 100. So this is this table. We can see the values of the allowable shear stresses in different stages and the modulus of elasticity and modulus of rigidity of various spring materials used for the helical springs. Next, standard size of spring wire. So what are the standard sizes in the spring wire? The standard size of the spring wire may be selected from the following table. The standard wire gauge SWG. The standard wire gauge, number of corresponding diameters of the spring wire. So we can see the table. The table will be given as standard wire gauge, diameter SWG. So this table will be given to the standard wire gauge and a diameter. So these are the number of gauges and the number of diameters used for the standard size. So for example, the size is 7 by 0, the diameter is 12.70, and 6 by 0, 11.785, 5 by 0, 10.973, 4 by 0, 10.160, 3 by 0, 9.490, 2 by 0, 0.839, so 0, 08.229, so 1, 7.620, so approximately the value will be increased to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 45. So that the diameters also will be increased to 7.602, 7.01, 6.4. So diameter, so the standard wire gauge will be increased so that the diameter will be reduced. So final to the SWG is 45. The diameter is 0.0711. So these values of the table is used for the problems for taking the SWG standard wire gauge in 2. So the diameter of the 2 is 7.010. So this table of calculations will be used for the problems. So next, terms used in compression springs. So what are the terms used for the compression springs? The following terms used in the connection with the compression springs are important from the subject point of view. So what are the subject point of view? The important in the connection of the compression springs. So first one is a solid length. When the compression spring is compressed until the coil comes in contact with each other, the spring is said to be solid. The solid length of the spring is the product of total number of coils and the diameter of the wire. So the mathematically solid length of the spring is Ls is equal to N dash into D. So N dash, where N dash is the total number of coils and D is the diameter of the wire. So next compression spring is free length. The free length of compression spring as shown in the figure is the length of the spring is free or unload condition. It is equal to the solid length plus the maximum deflection of the compression of the spring and the clearance between the adjacent coil when fully compressed. So mathematically, so you can see the figure. This is the diameter of the spring, this is the pitch of the spring and small dia of the spring. So length is a free length when compression is applied. So this is the compression spring when a load is applied at top and bottom. So the spring will be compressed. So the length is a compressed length. And finally the compression is completed. The spring will be in solid, compressed solid mode. So compressed solid means there is no gap between the springs from top to bottom. The free length of the spring LF is equal to solid length plus maximum compression plus clearance between adjacent coil or clash allowance. So that is equal to LF is equal to N dash into D plus delta max plus 0.15 delta minimum. The following relation may also be used to find the free length of the spring, that is LF is equal to N dash into D plus delta max plus N dash minus 1 into 1 mm. In this expression, the clearance between the two adjacent coils is taken as 1 mm. So the next one is spring index. The spring index is defined as the ratio of the mean diameter of the coil to the diameter of the wire. So the mathematically the spring index C is equal to capital D by small d, where capital D is the mean diameter of the coil and small d is the diameter of the wire. The next one is spring rate. The spring rate or stiffness or spring constant is defined as the load required per unit deflection of the spring. So mathematically spring rate K is equal to W by delta, where W is equal to load and delta is equal to deflection of the spring. Next, pitch. The pitch of the coil is defined as the axial distance between adjacent coils and in compressed state. So mathematically pitch of the coil P is equal to free length by N dash minus 1. The pitch of the coil may also be obtained by using the following relation, that is the pitch of the coil P is equal to the free length means LF minus LS by N dash plus D, where LF is the free length of the spring, LS is the solid length of the spring, so N dash is the total number of the coils and finally small d is the diameter of the wire. In choosing the pitch of the coils, the following points should be noted. So what are the points are? The pitch of the coils should be such that if the springs is accidentally or carelessly compressed, the stresses does not increase the yield point stress in torsion. The spring should not be closed up before the maximum service load is reached. Note: in designing the tensile spring, you can see the example of The minimum gap between the two coils when the spring is in a free state is taken as 1 mm. That's the free length of the spring. So LF is equal to N into D plus N minus 1. And pitch of the coil P is equal to LF by N minus 1. So next, stresses in helical spring of circular wire. Consider a helical compression spring made up of circular wire is subjected to the axial load W. So as shown in the figure here. So we can see the figure. So this is the figure here in axial load of helical spring. So let capital D is the mean diameter of the spring, small d is the diameter of the spring wire. So we can see the figure here. So capital D is the mean diameter of the spring. So small d is the diameter of the wire. So N equal to number of active coils. So G is equal to modulus of rigidity for the spring material. So W is equal to axial load on the spring. Tau is equal to maximum shear stress induced in the wire. C is equal to spring index equal to capital D by small d. So P is equal to pitch of the coil and delta is equal to deflection of the spring as a result of an axial load W. Now consider a part of the compression spring as shown in the figure B. So this is the second part of the spring. So this is the free body diagram shown in the wire is subjected to torsional shear and the direct shear. So the load W tends to the rotate the wire due to the twisting moment. T setup of the wire, thus the torsion shear stress is induced in the wire. So you can see the figure. So figure A and figure B is the axial load helical spring. Free body diagram shown in the wire is subject to the torsion shear in the direct stress. So this is the twisting moment. So this is the capital D is the main diameter of the spring. So small d is the diameter of the wire. So let us consider, will show that the part of the spring as shown in the figure B, so is in equilibrium under the action of two forces W and the twisting moment T. So we know that the twisting moment T is equal to W into D by 2. So that is equal to pi by 16 into tau 1 into D3. Therefore tau 1 is equal to 8 into W into capital D by pi into D cube. This is the equation number 1. In torsion shear stress diagram is shown in figure A. In addition to the torsion shear stress tau 1 induced in the wire, the following stresses also act on the wire. So what are the following stresses are? Direct shear stress to the load W and stress due to curvature of wire. We know that the direct shear stresses due to the load W, tau 2 is equal to load by cross sectional area of the wire. So W is equal to pi by 4 D square. So that is equal to 4W by pi D square. This is the equation number 2. So the direct shear stress diagram as shown in the figure B and the resultant diagram for the torsion shear stress and the direct shear stress as shown in the figure C. So you can see the figure. So this is the suspension of stresses in helical springs. So this is the figure number A, torsion shear stress diagram. Figure B, direct shear stress diagram. Next figure C, resultant torsion shear stress, shear and direct shear diagram. So this is the outer edge, this is one is the inner edge. So this one is the axis of the spring. The inner edge to the outer edge shape will be increased. Next the figure D, resultant torsion shear. direct shear and curvature shear diagram. So axis of the spring, the distance between the axis, center axis to the diameter and the axis of the spring is d by 2. We know that the resultant shear stresses induced in the wire tau is equal to tau 1 plus or minus tau 2. So that is equal to 8 into W into capital D by pi d cube plus or minus 4W by pi into d square. The positive sign is used for inner edge of the wire and the negative sign is used the outer edge of the wire. Since the stresses is maximum at the inner edge of the wire, therefore maximum shear stresses induced in the wire, that is equal to torsional shear stress plus direct shear stress, that is equal to torsional shear stress 8 into W into D by pi into D cube plus 4W by pi into D square, that is equal to direct shear stress. So 8 into W into D by pi D cube into 1 plus D by 2D, 1 plus D by 2D. That is equal to 8 into W into capital D by pi into D cube into 1 plus 1 by 2C, that is equal to Ks into 8 into W into D by pi into D cube. Substituting small d by capital D is equal to C. So that's why we can use the C. So 1 plus 1 by 2C. So d by small d by capital D is equal to C. That's why we can create using the C value, where Ks is equal to shear stress factor, that is equal to 1 plus 1 by 2C. So substituting the Ks value in the above equation, Ks is equal to 1 plus 1 by 2C. So that's why Ks into 8 into W into capital D by pi into D cube. From the above equation, it can be observed that the effect of direct shear stress 8 into W into capital D by pi into D cube into 1 plus 2C is appreciable for spring of small spring index C. Also, we have neglected the effect of the wire curvature in equation 3. It may be noticed that when the springs are subjected to static load, the effect of the wire curvature may be neglected because yielding of the material will be relieve the stresses. In order to consider the effect of both direct shear as well as curvature of the wire, a Wahel stress factor introducing by AM in Wahel may be used the resultant diagram to torsion shear, direct shear and curvature shear stresses as shown in the figure D. So therefore maximum shear stresses induced in the wire tau is equal to K into 8 into W into D by pi into D cube, that is equal to K into 8 into W into C by pi into D square. So since D by capital D by small d is equal to C, substitute the value where K is equal to 4C minus 1 by 4C minus 4 plus 0.615 by C. So we can see the figure. Wahan stress factor for helical springs. These springs, the graph will be shown as the stress factor K and spring index. So the graph will be reduced to 1.7 to 1. So the graph will be increased to So the graph will be increased to different factors, and the spring of the indexes will be increased to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and finally the spring index will be fixed to the 16 C constant value. So the value of the K for the given spring index C may be obtained from the graph, so as shown in the figure. We see the figure that Wahel's stress factor increased very rapidly as the spring index decreases. The spring mostly used in machinery have spring index above 3. Note, the Wahel's stress factor K may be considered as compressed of two subfactors Ks and Kc, such that K is equal to Ks into Kc, where Ks is equal to stress factor due to shear and Kc is equal to stress concentration factor due to curvature. Next, deflection of helical spring of circular wire. In this previous article, we have discussed the maximum shear stresses developed in the wire. We know that total active length of the wire, so L is equal to length of one coil into number of active coils, that is equal to pi into capital D into N. Let theta is equal to angular deflection of the wire when acted upon the torque P. Therefore, axial deflection of the spring delta is equal to theta into d by 2. This is the equation number 1. We also know that T by J is equal to tau into d by 2 is equal to g theta by L. So considering T by J equal to g theta by L, this is the, therefore theta is equal to TL by Jg, where J is the polar moment of inertia of the spring wire, that is equal to pi by 32 into d power 4, where d is the diameter of the spring wire and g is the modulus of rigidity for the material of the spring wire. Now substituting the values of L and J in the above equation, we have theta is equal to TL by Jg, where substituting the values W into d by 2 into pi into dn by pi by 4 g pi into pi by 32 into d power 4 into g, that is equal to 16 W d square into n by g d power 4. So we can calculating the pi's. We can calculate the pi and top and bottom. So this 32 will be cancellation by 2. So 2 ones are 2 16s. The 16 will cross multiplication. Thus 16 W, so d into d square into n by g into d power 4. This is the equation number 2. So substituting this value of theta in equation 1, we have delta is equal to 16 W d square into n by g d power 4 into capital D by 2, that is equal to, so again cancellation 2 into 280, 2 8s, so 8 into W into d cube into n by g into d power 4, that is equal to 8W c cube into n by g into d. Since c is equal to capital D by small d, so we can replace in the value. So c is equal to capital A by small d. So cube means it has 3 capital D's and 3 small d's. So that's why by using the c cube, and the stiffness of the spring or spring rate W by delta is equal to g into d power 4 by 8 into d cube into n. that is equal to capital J into small d by 8 into C cube into N. So this is constant. So next, eccentric loading of springs. Sometimes the load of the springs does not coincide with the axis of the spring. That is, the spring is subjected to an eccentric load. In such case, not only the safe load for the spring reduces, the stiffness of the spring is also affected. The eccentric load on the spring increases the spring on one side of the spring and decreases the other side. When the load is offset by a distance from the spring axis, then the safe load of the spring may be obtained by multiplying the axial load by the factor. The eccentric load of the spring is the spring does not coincide with the axis of the spring. The spring is subjected to the eccentric load in such cases. So one is the safe load. So another one is spring reduces the stiffness of the spring also affected. The eccentric load of the spring increases the one side of the spring and it decreases the other side of the spring. The offset distance from the spring axis is the safe load of the spring. So that is the multiple axial load of the factor. So D by capital D by 2 into small into, so capital D by 2E plus D, where D is the mean diameter of the spring. So this is the calculation for the eccentric load of the spring formula. E is equal to capital D by 2E plus D. So next, buckling of compression springs. It has been found experimentally that when the free length of the spring LF and more than the 4 times the main or pitch diameter D, then the spring behave like a column and may fail by buckling at a comparatively low load as shown in the figure, the critical axial load WCR that causes buckling may be calculated by using the following relation, that is WCR that is equal to K into KB into LF, where K is the spring rate or stiffness of the spring that is equal to W by delta. LF is the free length of the spring and KB is the buckling factor, depends upon the ratio LF by D. The buckling factor KB for the hinged end and built-in end springs may be taken as the following table. So this will see the figure is the free end and guided end. So buckling of the compression springs. So it is two figures. This is a fixed end. This is the guided end. For seeing the table in the buckling of compression springs, so the values of the buckling factor KB. So this table is given LF by D, hinged end spring, built-in end spring. So coming to the first one, LF by D. So 0.72 and 0.72 is the hinged end and buckling end in both is 0.72. In second one, the hinged end of the spring is 0.63, buckling end is 0.71. This third one is in 0.38 is a hinged end spring, 0.68 is a built-in end spring. The final fourth one is a 0.20 in the hinged end spring and 0.63 is the built-in end spring. In coming to the LF by D, in the fifth one is the hinged end spring is 0.11, built-in end spring is 0.53. Next, the sixth one is the 0.07 is the hinged end and 0.38 is a built-in end. Next, the seventh one is 0.05 is a hinged end and built-in in 0.26. Then the last one is the 0.04 is the hinged end of the spring, and final the built-in end spring is 0.19. So this is the tabular value, the values of the buckling factors in compared to the hinged end of the spring and built-in end spring. So it may be noted that the hinged end spring in one which is supported on pivots at the both end in case of spring having plain end where the built-in end springs is one of the spring is squared and grooved end spring is compressed between the two rigid and parallel flat plates. In order to avoid the buckling of the spring, it is either mounted on a central rod or located on the tube. When the spring is located on the tube, the clearance between the tube wall and the spring should be kept as small as possible, but it must be sufficient to allow for increases in spring diameter during compression. So these are the buckling of compression springs. Thank you.